In today's video, we have a spectacular collaboration for the Crow family and the crypto army out there. We have Oscar Ramos and Satoshi Aoki joining us for a collaboration where we're going to go over all topics, including crypto.com, what you can expect, crypto.com land sale, what's to come with that, update for the Loaded Lion holders, and talk a little bit about NFTs and the game coming out for the Loaded Lions. And we're going to also talk about the SEC and the threat of regulation. And of course, we got to give you a little update on Sam Bankman-Fried. If that's the kind of content you guys like, consider smashing up the like button and subscribing to the channel. We're doing 4 videos every single day for you. But get ready, guys. Make sure you buckle up and enjoy the ride. Welcome back to the Crypto Report, everybody. I'm Crypto Kip, and as you can see here, we have a couple very familiar faces on the channel, and we are building this community together. You have the leader of the army, Oscar Ramos, in person here today with us. You have Satoshi Aoki, a CRO Coin all-star as well, and gamer, which we'll talk a little bit in this video as well. And then you have myself as well, Crypto Kip. Good to have the boys together. Thanks for joining us, fellas. How we doing today? Oscar, what's happening?
Hey, how you doing, everybody? Thank you for the invite. I was looking as I wake up early at the prices, market cap, news. Well, so far, I am just not positive that we're going through this together, and I'm just looking some updates from Cronos Chain on Twitter. Very bullish, very positive too. So I'm happy. I think everybody's getting ready for the Loaded Lions main city. That will be fantastic. Some people buying Loaded Lions right now. I'm waiting for some of those lands. Man. And today, Argentina versus Croatia. Croatia. So we're battling Argentina right now. So everybody in the comments right now, #Pro, let's go.
Let's go. Satoshi, you watching the World Cup? How you feeling?
Oh, mate, you know what? I'm kind of cheaping out. I'm here in the UK, and I am a fan of football. I've been watching the highlights, but I just stream and watch. But yeah, no, it's a great tournament, and yeah, specifically for crypto.com, I think it's been a really great thing as well, establishing this FIFA World Cup partnership, and really exciting to see where that goes, I think, in the next year in terms of just a bit more of that mainstream adoption coming into what I think is arguably the #1 place for newcomers to get into cryptocurrency, crypto.com. So theoretically, this should, over time, put the price of CRO up. And again, in my opinion, it's without a doubt, if crypto.com can stay bankrupt through this bear market, which I think they will, then I think it's very much blue skies ahead. So very much looking forward to it. And thank you so much for having me on today.
Super glad to have you, fellas. Glad to have the squad in person, in flesh here this morning from all over the world, which is great to see. So, fellas, I'm going to share my screen here. I want to show you guys a little bit about what I've been looking at. And I kind of wanted to share some questions with you guys. And first of all, can you guys see my screen okay?
Yeah, it looks great.
Beautiful. So, to start, right now we got a market cap. We're 850 billion. Bitcoin, we're happy to see, right, fellas? We're at $17,000 price level. That's doing all right. I think if we have a break above 17.5, could be looking good. But looking at CRO Coin, right now we're trading at just under 6.5 cents. But my first question here is, so the other day we had this beautiful pump. You guys, I'm sure you saw this because I know you guys hold some lovely Crow as well. But this was December 4th, it looks like, maybe overnight. Yeah, right at midnight, it really had a huge rally. Now, what I'm asking is, this was a 15% pump. First of all, why do you guys think that this happened? Was there something in particular that you believe made this pump? Was it a partnership? Was it something else? And then also, why did it come back down? I mean, we came flying up, and a lot of people in the audience, this community is wondering, why did it come back down? Why would it have gone up 15% and come right back down to the floor? Do you guys kind of have a little bit of a take on? I'm going to stop sharing here just so we can continue. Satoshi, what are your thoughts on that pump?
Well, I mean, in terms of the news that came out this week, I haven't looked into it too deeply, but I did make a video yesterday talking about this NFT collaboration with Coca-Cola, which I thought was pretty exciting. So I don't believe it was a direct partnership as such. I think it's just a collab which Coca-Cola are using the crypto.com NFT ecosystem. Yeah, so there was that happened. So I'm not sure if that pump coincided with that news or not, because from fundamentally, that's all I could think that may have been the cause of that. And I don't know, I guess in terms of selling, I mean, it could be a number of things and it's probably more than just one thing, but I can imagine that, people see a 15% pump on almost any altcoin in a bear market, then I would imagine a lot of people see that as an opportunity to take profit, especially if they have been buying in at those levels prior to the 15% pump. So that's probably all I could really say on that from what I know.
Yeah, so Oscar, I saw you jump out for a second. The question was, we had that 15% pump just the other day on CRO Coin, but we came right back down. I was asking Satoshi and why do we feel like it pumped, and why did it come back down? And Satoshi, to your point, yeah, I mean, maybe that is it. Maybe people are just eager to take some profits, and I can't argue with that. Taking profits is okay, I guess. But Oscar, what were your thoughts on that pump?
Yeah, of course, bro. Well, I was live streaming it on Sunday. Started on Sunday at around 6 p.m. and ended in the morning of the next day at around 2 a.m. And those are typical price movements that we're going to be seeing in the bear market. Reason why is because the other part of the world wakes up, and they are the ones that I believe are driving the demand mostly. Probably some whales here in the States or in America. You really see that a lot. I don't really think it was a Coca-Cola partnership, because that is not such a big of a deal for crypto.com. It is a nice add-on, but the FIFA World Cup itself, that is what kind of drives a lot of people into saying, wow, anything add-on on that, which will be this Coca-Cola partnership for the NFTs, that's great. That's nice. What I think it occurred is that what we're seeing on Thursday, Friday, then Sunday, and then some days last week, and probably this week too, is just whales or buyers trying to take on the challenge, buying a couple millions of cronos, and then at the same time, when the retail investors follow because they see the pump, they start cashing out. And that's a practice that it's heavily common, because it just lasted a day of that price movement. Usually it takes hours to pump, less than 1 day, and it takes a couple of days to go back to the price, which is exactly what we saw. I think it is what it is, because obviously I think a lot of us in the Crow Army, in the Cronos fam, we want to finally see it break 10 cents or see other different tokens break. But 2022 is absolutely cooked when it comes to all of these DeFi TVL. But I'm hopeful, the World Cup is going to end. We probably are not going to see that much price movement as it ends, but it is a reminder that it is a time for building. It is a time for development. And I love to see, those updates when it comes to Cronos chain and when it comes to the crypto in general. Yesterday, just kind of trying to pivot and get more information. BlackRock saying that we're going to see a recession that we've never seen before. And what worked before is not going to work now. You add the next week CPI, FOMC, waiting on Genesis, and waiting on crypto.com audit. Imagine. And then the BlackRock CEO. Why am I saying right now this? Well, because it's the largest asset manager. And if you want whales to buy, you need the whales in one room. And that's where the whales are. So if the BlackRock CEO says many crypto companies won't be withstanding during next year, and also that this is gonna be a really tough year. So obviously I do understand why some whales will want to just play with crypto a little bit, knowing that they can take advantage of some of the retail investors. But that's when us as a fam, knowing how they manipulate, we can also start buying and selling and just do it again to make some money during this difficult time.
Yep. No, I love that. I love that. You know what? And anybody that did take profit during this opportunity, good on you. That was a really big pump. typically these pumps, even if they don't come all the way back down to earth, they typically, come back down a little bit and then maybe they continue. So taking profit on the way up, we talk about that a lot on my channel as well. Never a bad idea because clearly there are a lot of whale games. And to your point, BlackRock CEO did come out the other day. What a very strange thing he said as well, where he said, basically like the worst is yet to come, essentially. And a lot of people are speculating, myself included, that might be a very bullish thing in the end, because at the end of the day, you really whale games, right? This giant whale that is BlackRock, one of the largest asset managers on planet Earth, what does he want to do? He wants to drive the prices down, probably. So yes, he can scoop it up, Satoshi. He wants to scoop up the soup. But there's a lot of other things going on. So you brought it up, Oscar. We're going to pivot to this question, and I want to get your fellas' take on this one right here. So let's take a peek here. You mentioned it. The Fed, they've got decisions to make. It's coming up. Federal Chair Jerome Powell, getting a lot of heat. He can't say the right thing right now. Anything he says, the markets do, they go crazy over it regardless. He says something bearish, they find the bullish. He says something bullish, they find the bearish. A lot of controversy over what this guy says because he's the one and his team, the Fed, they are raising the interest rates. As we know, we had a 0.75% interest rate here, hike here in the U.S. for the last meeting, and now they're potentially looking at a 0.5% interest rate hike, which is more of a dovish, a lightening on some of the footing that they've had as of late. Do we feel, fellas? Oscar, I'll start with you on this one. How do you feel? You're in the U.S. I know Satoshi. We'll get to you in a second. You're across the pond, in the U.K., but. Oscar, do you feel like this is going to be a bullish event next week when the Fed has this FOMC meeting, or do you think that this is going to be something that causes maybe the opposite? Maybe is it that final leg down that maybe people have been talking about? What are your thoughts?
So that we just received the PPI right now, the Producer Price Index today, because the CPI is coming next week. And it was much lower, the PPI, than last reporting, which means that's a bullish indicator because then the CPI is going to be less than 7.7%. And the core inflation will be less than 2%. So all of that makes sense as far as it's working. I'm not saying it's going to be super less by maybe 7% from 7.7, but it is a great start. And I think most people agree that there's going to be an increase of half a point, 50% on that federal funds rate. Still high because we want to go back to that 2%, he says. Yes, he's going to continue increasing based on what I've heard him saying on those minutes and on the conferences after the reading. It is one of those things that as a crypto investor, you kind of want to worry about the buying and selling and looking which community is the best and not really too much about government. But as I found and as I tell, my community and your own communities, guys, you have to also educate yourselves in what the macro is and what the market is and what politics is, because it all influences our decisions here. And Jerome Powell has this huge task of cooling down the economy from those trillions of dollars poured. Sad but true. And I mean, I know it sounds kind of like ridiculous because we all desperately want to make money in the long term, but I wouldn't be surprised if 2023 is finally the bottom of this bear market, and then in 2024 we start to see some rally back. What I'm saying is like, this type of issues that represent a lot of wars and inflation and supply chain and even the identity here in the United States and how things are shifting, they don't really go by crypto time and crypto speed. They take forever, sadly but true. So I'm hopeful that this is gonna be my make it or break it. What do I mean? That if I want to become rich by the time we finally see those huge prices, I better take on this bear market, because I don't want to wait, 8 years, 5 years, 6 years, 4 years so the cycle is once again bearish. So that's kind of like the way I see it. we haven't seen in a while this type of inflation as I think a lot of people see 40-year high, 35-year high, like in a generation, half a generation. So it's our time that we're living where finally we buy tech stocks and they're selling off for record prices. We buy crypto, look at the price, what it is. So it is, I think, a unique opportunity. And going back to Cronos, right? Finding the right companies, the right communities, I believe you can really make it a big home run if we select the ones that are showing us proof of reserves, the ones that are showing us great partnerships, great, I would say, audits, and just being very transparent. So that's what I can tell you. Obviously, the Fed has a tremendous responsibility. Then we have in 2 years elections. We just passed midterm. So I think we'll have to let this year go and start a brand new one. And investors will start seeing how things how things roll in 2023. But overall, I'm hopeful that 2023 finally can be that deciding moment when we start parting ways to a bullish territory.
I am with you. I am excited for 2023. Now, Satoshi, you're over in the UK, and so Mr. Jerome Powell, he's probably not in your press as much as he's in Oscar and my, headlines in the newspapers. Maybe you go online, you see it, but you don't have to get into the details on it. If it's something like the story, I don't know how much you hear about this over there, but what have you heard about some of this and the U.S. inflation and the federal chair, Jerome Powell? Have you heard about these inflation rate hikes in the U.S.? Is this news for you guys over there? That'll be very interesting for our audience to kind of hear how you're taking that in the UK.
Yeah, no, of course, Kip. Yeah, look, no, I think it's very much a global and an international sort of understanding. Most of my audience on YouTube is actually based in the US, and then in second place is the UK. So, we still, I still managed to come across quite a lot of this international cryptocurrency news just basically through YouTube and various articles and things like that. And for sure, yeah, it's quite obviously had some effect on the market, and I think it continues to. But I think in the broader sense, I think sometimes people, they tend to get stuck up too much on the nitty-gritty details of these kinds of things, and they get a little bit maybe fudded out of situations and they're selling at the wrong times. As you kind of sort of touched on there, Oscar, I think, in terms of it, this is really almost once in a lifetime opportunity for a lot of people. I personally think, if you're not leveraged, if you're not taking crazy loans or doing leverage trading, I mean, if you are a believer in crypto.com, I mean, it's debatable whether this could be a incredible time to load up. We're still very much above all-time highs at around sort of 2-3 cents from sort of maybe 4 years ago or something like that. And yeah, I think also something to consider as well is that, if we think about when the virus came about, the start of the virus, I think we saw BTC around sort of $9,000, and then the following week, BTC had a very quick drop to 3K, right? And I actually had a girl who invested, and the reason why I'm talking about Bitcoin is because Bitcoin will be the driver of CRO and other altcoins, right? So you do kind of have to look to Bitcoin in this sense. And, I had a friend of mine asked me, do you think it's the right time to maybe invest in Bitcoin at 9K? I said, look, I think it's always a good time to buy and hold if you're talking 2-3 year period, right? If we're talking about BTC and altcoins that you really like. But again, the next week she put in a few grand. Next week it drops to 3K. I felt kind of bad, but if we fast forward a year or two, Bitcoin's blasted past 20K. It's gotten up to 60K. Do you know what I mean? She could have taken those profits, and a token like CRO kind of follows that similar trajectory as well. So in my mind, it's like that was a huge catastrophic black swan event that had a huge impact on the market. And whilst these, incremental rate hikes and inflation, yes, this is all considered bearish, but in my opinion, if you're someone that's in CRO for the long term in terms of a long-term hold, just like the old saying, stack sats and chill, stack crow and chill as well. That's kind of how I feel about it. As I said, if you're leveraged, if you're leverage trading, if you've got collateralized loans, that's a different story. You gotta, you might want to do a bit of risk management there. And also as well, Bitcoin on-chain analytical data, again, is continuing to suggest hash rate is at close to all-time highs. I think it may have even hit an all-time high recently. Amount of Bitcoin leaving exchanges is at all-time high. I think a lot of the people that are taking profits on BTC, a lot of that is already priced in to the BTC price, which is going to affect altcoins and CROs. So yeah, of course, I think it's mainly priced in, but that's kind of what I think about it there.
Yeah.
It's a bit of more of a macro look.
Great point. Great point. I mean, both you guys. Satoshi, I agree with you. Just stack Crow and keep going. I think it's Bitcoin, Ethereum, right? It's the cryptos that you've done the research on. That you do your own research. Us three. We'll talk about what we think, but everybody, I recommend always do your own research, folks. But when you do look at some of the research, I mean, we see some bullish future for crypto, a huge one for Bitcoin, for Ethereum, for Crow, because of how strong this Crow fam is. This company has proven to be, especially with all the fear that's going on. And Oscar, to your point, 2023, yeah, I'm hopeful that we start the reversal, right, and we get back up at least to 12 cents, and then back to hopefully 20-cent Crow, and we can keep kind of going on. But Satoshi. I was going to pull up the Bitcoin rainbow chart. To, your point, we are at crazy lows right now. And we have such a huge opportunity. And Oscar, I've seen on your channel, you do a great job of sharing this too. The Bitcoin rainbow chart, where you look at the parabola on Bitcoin and you see the previous price history, and you get to see the price movements and how it's come up, and then we have a bear market. And, typically when we see that, and you can see where we're at right now on that rainbow chart, guys, is we are at extreme fear. We are at crazy fire sale levels. We are at the best buying opportunity, because this is the one that I always say, guys, is, what are you going to do? Let's say you need a winter coat. You're free, you need a winter coat. Are you going to go buy a winter coat at, your big retail sporting goods store at a negative 10-degree day in the middle of winter? Or are you better off buying that coat on a 101-degree day in the middle of June, maybe, on a clearance rack, right, in the back of the store? Obviously, you're better off buying it on the clearance rack. Guys, if you like crypto and you want to buy some crypto, you're looking at the clearance rack right now. It is happening. But there are, and we have to acknowledge it, and that brings me to my next question, there are some more threats out there that we kind of have to talk about. One of them, again, Satoshi, I'm curious to hear your take on this. I'm going to throw this one to Oscar first, and I'll get to you. But Gary Gensler, the SEC chair in the U.S., and if I may, guys, I don't know if you've heard about this. This may be speculation, but a lot of people have been talking about this, and I understand why. Gary Gensler potentially having some kind of tie to FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried, right? He was an MIT professor. Is something about, the person that he was under at MIT was the father of Caroline, who is the founder of Alameda Research. Alameda Research founder Caroline was the girlfriend of Sam. Sam, I believe, went to MIT. Maybe don't quote me on that one, but there's a lot of things that are pointing to maybe there was a connection here. Now, what I'm pointing out in this article, I just saw this one this morning. This is crazy to me. You need, quote from Gary Gensler, you need to properly segregate customer funds, says the SEC chair, Gary Gensler. And if you guys haven't seen, he's coming in and he's talking about how the SEC is ready to get their fingernails dug into crypto. Some people are saying he needs to get more power, more regulatory approval to have more oversight. He's coming out in interviews with Yahoo Finance and saying, no, we have a lot of oversight. We could always use more. We want more reach, but we have plenty to get in there and start regulating crypto. But what was interesting about this quote to me is, in many, many interviews lately with FTX, I'm sure you boys have seen this, but Sam Bankman-Fried's coming out and saying, "Oh, I didn't know that we were integrating customer funds with Alameda, and I didn't know these funds were intermixed." Proof is kind of coming out that maybe he did, but what is shocking to me is, for 6 months, guys, SEC chair Gary Gensler was having meetings with Sam Bankman-Fried. Now, Gary Gensler's coming out and saying, oh, you need to properly segregate customer funds. And Sam Bankman-Fried wasn't doing that the entire time. Do you think that Gary Gensler should have known that this was happening, fellas? Do you think that this is a problem for Gary Gensler? And what are your thoughts on Gary Gensler and the SEC regulating crypto? Is that a threat to crypto.com? Is that a threat to other coins as opposed to crypto.com? What are your guys' thoughts on all things Gary Gensler given this headline?
Sure. Well, the first thing is term limits, man. I mean, when you are already heading that when you're already heading a
Smash up
department
the like button for term limits, folks.
yeah, I mean, honestly, because I think he's one of those that just been forever in Congress, and well, not in Congress, but just kind of heading that part of the federal government. Obviously, there's gonna be some corruption at some point, and doing good things, doing sketchy things, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's some relationship with him and I don't mean to research or SBF and FTX. I just don't know. I don't really care honestly because those are things that maybe Coffeezilla wants to pitch in, but in my opinion, I'm like, okay, look, I don't care what you do with your life. Honestly, I am trying to find the truth in the good companies that whoever is, I don't care, whoever is heading that specific SEC, the Securities Exchange Commission department, is going to find that crypto.com is legit and that we deserve a seat on the table, period. I better spend my resources on the good, the building, and the entities that no matter who is in front, they're going to be like, okay, yeah, Binance, sure. Crypto.com, sure. And even Binance, they've been having some issues to come to the United States and be open to all states. So, but Crypto.com, you see it everywhere, right? Which is great. That's kind of like one of the reasons that I also, I can use Crypto.com. I can favor it a lot, and I really enjoyed it. So there's obviously going to be a threat, and I've seen it with AmToken. AmToken is a token that I cover, ERC21, that I covered last year. And I always get questions and comments from the AmToken community because that was me like a year ago. Like, call it shilling, call it pumping, whatever. I was trying to do the best because I really like what the tokens stand for, and it's still doing the same, but there's less community involvement because the price has collapsed. Makes sense. And one of the reasons is because the SEC said you're a security. Boom. And at that moment, exchanges delisted AmToken, sell-off started for AmToken, and I'm like, wow. Obviously, it still does the same, has the same team flex and network consensus, like not just your Dogecoin, whatever team built this. No, consensus and Flexa built this. Consensus comes from MetaMask, the entire team. So I'm like, are you kidding me? This is an amazing team group of professionals who build something that works. And there's a Chipotle partnership with AmToken. So there's something there, but the price is garbage. That's kind of like the power you have to acknowledge the SEC, because as soon as they say, no, you're not what you think you are, look at XRP, then you can be in this mess for so long. And I am thankful, right, that Crypto.com CRO hasn't been involved in any of those conversations. But if it is at some point, I believe the team we have behind Crypto.com will do a great job in try to establish who we are and what the company is, all the certifications, licenses, and just put it on the table, knowing that by far, I think Crypto.com is going to be well regarded as the top, if not one of the top crypto exchanges for users here in the United States. And the SEC will be like, okay, so what are you doing to protect our users here in the US? How are you like presenting your proof of reserves? How are you insurance on customer phones, collateralization, X, Y, and Z? And Crypto.com will be like, here, this is what we do. So those are the important questions that I kind of I'm worried about. Not really so much on what's going on with the drama, but how we can look at the future.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah. And you know what? That's a good point. What are they doing? And they're doing a lot. They're doing a lot. Satoshi, what's your take on the whole thing? I again, UK, what's the word on the street over there? Are you guys talking about this? Gary Gensler and the SEC, or you got something else you're worried about?
No, absolutely. I mean, that's again just like kind of an international talking point for crypto at the moment. It's making all the headlines. And again, I'll never sit here and say I'm wholeheartedly sure on anything, but my suspicions would lead me to think that a lot of these things can't be coincidental. I think there's something that's been going on here, as you guys did mention, just the consecutive meetings with Sam Bankman-Fried over that period of time, and just, I didn't know about any of this, yada, yada. I'm not personally buying it. It seems like all a bit of a ploy to me to have maybe an increased, crackdown on certain cryptocurrencies that the SEC may want to target. And yeah, as you did say, Oscar, especially using the Ripple as an example, there is still quite a strong Ripple army, but it takes a long time, and people are like in terms of the masses are possibly afraid to invest in Ripple, and it hasn't really, it's never really looked like it was going to recover from its all-time high levels from where it once was. And even if it comes out, up again, I stand on the fence with Ripple. I don't really look into it too much, but it's a good example, and that can happen to sort of any project. But as you also touched on, Oscar, I think, when I think of crypto.com, it's the boring stuff that they're doing, the security, the insurance, this new level of compliance. It's the boring stuff that nobody really cares for or wants to read through, but it's stuff that's integral to really, I guess, wearing some armor against a potential SEC audit. And I think it stands to a testament to crypto.com for, in my eyes, doing everything they can to prepare for regulation, right? Whereas a lot of other projects maybe are not doing those things. So again, even just for that reason alone is a really bullish reason why I like crypto.com, for example. And yeah, if that regulation does come through eventually for crypto.com, it's hard to know what might happen, but I think you can rest assured they've put everything in place to really come out the other end okay, and be a real industry leader in terms of serving the US in particular, as well as the rest of the world. I think they've got good branches in Australia, here in the UK. They're widely accepted and used as well. And yeah, that's really what I think about that.
Yeah, no, well said, well said. And it brings me back to kind of the turtle and the hare story, and I'll explain what I mean here in a second. But crypto.com, to your point, fellas, I don't really see a risk with Gary Gensler and crypto.com because, like you guys both did a great job of mentioning, they have done a lot. And you call it the boring stuff, Satoshi. Yeah, a lot of people see it as boring, Look at all the regulatory approvals that they've gotten in France, in I think like Hong Kong and like South Korea. They have done so much to get regulatory approval. And how do they do that? They go out, they acquire a company, and they go out and they get regulatory approval to operate by buying that company in a certain country, and they expand. And I think that goes back to the turtle and the hare. Crypto.com is the turtle here, and Binance is the hare. And I'm not going to say that the hare loses, right? Binance is very strong. It's a great project as well. But Crypto.com has done one better move, at least than Binance in this scenario, where they have the most regulatory licenses in all of crypto community. So Gary Gensler's threat, I'm not too worried about it. We gotta get to a couple other questions because I know, Oscar, your time's limited right now. Let me get into kind of some very interesting questions real quick. We're gonna zip over to the question that maybe is on everybody's mind. We're gonna skip over the Chris Marziak talking about his past. I'm glad he got that out of the way. I wanted to talk about that one, but we're gonna move over to the loaded lions. Fellas, I know you both have been eyeballing loaded lions. I'm crazy. I picked one up 2 weeks ago. It's playing out for me right now. The reason I did it is because the rumor was coming out that the loaded lions may have an opportunity to get some kind of discount on some of the land because the crypto.com land rumors were coming out. We've all been talking about that on our channel, I know. What are your guys' thoughts on loaded lions? And I'm going to combo this question for sake of time. And with the land sale that's coming out, are you guys going to buy some of these land sales? Are you guys buying loaded lions? Do you think that the land sale will sell out? In 60 seconds or so, fellas, you want to tell us your thoughts on that?
Yeah, of course. Let me just jump in and thank you very much. It's been an honor, always great pleasure to join the CRO fam. Whether you're a Twitter user, a YouTuber, whoever you're, or the crypto.com or Cronos heads, right? We're all part of in this together. NFTs, right? NFTs. It's a beautiful thing. And I've been in this NFT space in February of this year, 2022. Of course, I'm not the expert in NFTs or metaverses, but I do have some real life experiences. And here is my thoughts. No matter which project you are, you're gonna be pumped and liquidated because nobody cares about you and people want money, period. That's it. Putting that aside, the good projects, in my opinion, will indeed have cycles and come back. What do I mean? Check other side right now. Check a Bored Ape Yacht Club right now. Check just Azuki, whatever it is. Those are real, like at the Ethereum level blockchain. Those are like the top leaders. They're super down. What does that mean? When the hype is down, price is down because people want to just switch. Makes sense. Now, Loaded Lions, it's probably the best crypto NFT collection in crypto.com, even Cronos, which makes sense. I like it. Obviously, I didn't buy early, and right now I'm pausing my Loaded Lions purchase till later because I know it's going to come down. Now, the land is a mint. That can go two ways. That can go, you buy and people start liquidating and then the price goes lower, the floor, or the hype is real, it's nice, they over-deliver when it comes to the metaverse and continues rising. Well, I'm going to be buying a couple of them, that's for sure. You have the private sale for Loaded Lion holders, you have the allow list, and you have the public. Is it going to be open for everybody? The answer, yes. I hope that Loaded Lions can only buy a specific amount, because if they are not giving a limited, then probably that's going to be a little bit tricky. But even on other side, they were giving only 2 other side, because I was there, I lived through it. And yes, for the allow list, you have 150 or let's say 500 something spots. Yes, Loaded Lions, we're in a bear market. This is not a bull market. We're not going to have a 60-second buyout. It's just not going to happen. But we'll see a couple thousand spot in the first hour, in the first day for the for the private sale. People will get excited. People will start showing up all over their lands. And for the public sale, I'm sure I'm going to be paying a little bit more, but I can just buy 5, 4, 3 of them, and then that's it. I do believe that's going to happen, and it will start the battle of people wanting to sell it for less than you purchase. Welcome to crypto and NFT. Then some people will put it at amazing, crazy prices, and that's an NFT, right? I've seen it before. Yeah. So then once the hype of these Loaded Lions, and look, I'm referring to this. Loaded Lions it's the crypto.com land. But even though it's a crypto.com land, it's not so special that everybody knows about it. No, it's just the Crow fam, crypto.com, and all of its stakeholders. It's an important one for the real bull market that's coming. But realistically speaking, in a bear market, people want to cash out and they're going to do the best they can. So I'm already preparing ahead of the game. I think it is one of the most elite NFT collections, all the Loaded Lions. And it will probably go way past 2.5, 2.3 floor price. Obviously, yeah. If you go to the upside, it goes to $1 million or so. But it's just cool. I think the community is great. They've been awesome to all of us, I believe, and nothing but the best. And I will join in due time. But those lands, some of them are coming to me. Thank you very much, CryptoKid. Yeah. Thank you very much, Satoshi, for the time. And I'll catch you in the next one, everybody.
If you guys haven't done so already, make sure you go over to Oscar's channel and smash up like button on all his videos. But most importantly, subscribe, because there is fantastic Cronos Army and more crypto content on his channel. Thanks for joining us. Satoshi, stick with me. Got more for you, my brother. But good to have you, Oscar. We'll see you next time.
Catch you, Oscar. Cheers for coming,
Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate it.
So, Satoshi, we talked last time. We did a collaboration, my brother, me and you, and I made you a promise. I would get a Loaded Lion, and I did it. I had to do it. Because I saw this land sale. Now, what's your take? Did you think about getting one? Did you get one? Are you going to get one? Are you going to wait like Oscar? Do you think that the price is going to come down after the land sale, or do you think it's going to keep going up? Tell me your thoughts.
Look, I think when it comes to the Loaded Lions, again, I made a video about this, which I mentioned on our last chat probably a couple months ago or something like that, saying that, I think we can both agree. Loaded Lions are that historic NFT collection that has been endorsed by crypto.com and the crypto.com community as being the original PFP NFT project for crypto.com. I think that unless they do something, unless there's a black swan event, some mad conspiracy or something terrible that happens, unless they really fumble it in some way, which is always possible for any project, then I believe that they can remain the kings of the NFTs for crypto.com community, which is a very positive thing. I think, as you mentioned in the last video as well, the actual floor price of the loaded lines has held very, very strong, considering other NFTs, top NFTs on OpenSea and all other chains, Cronos ones as well. Floor price has held very strong, and I think there's still a lot of, I guess, misinformation, lack of education of the real positive side to NFTs within not only the crypto.com community, but just on the broader cryptocurrency community on the whole. So again, as I was saying about the historic moment in time, there's a couple of good NFT experts that I kind of follow on YouTube, and they all agree on something quite interesting, which I hadn't have thought of before. And that was the fact that, again, the successful projects are the ones that really make history, right? So you think of CryptoPunks 2017, thereabouts, was a free mint, okay? No intention of making profits. You could have been there at the right time, had a free mint, and sold a couple of years later for a few $1,000,000. That's a historic moment in time. You've got this ridiculous pixelated artwork that a lot of people say, well, I can just draw this on Paint, take a screenshot. People can make fun of it all they want, but the bottom line is if you were there 2017 and minted a few of those CryptoPunks for free, you could have theoretically taken several $1,000,000 in straight up profit, right? Just simply a couple of years later and possibly retired. That's the reality of it. So that's a historic moment in time for CryptoPunks. Then we had Bored Apes. Now, again, feel like that is going to be the loaded lions of crypto.com. It's very much in the infancy stages of that. I haven't personally purchased one just yet. I have been looking aggressively. That's not because I'm waiting for a better time to buy in. It's just because we're in a bear market. I've got funds spread out, and I would probably have to move funds from another investment to get into some loaded lions. Now, in terms of the land sale and going into the, well, I guess to start off, I'd probably just want to say, I don't think that loaded lions even needed to necessarily have further utility in regards to a land sale or a metaverse or anything like that. I don't think it's necessary. Again, look at CryptoPunks. What's the utility behind CryptoPunks? Nothing. There is no utility. There doesn't need to be. It's again a historic moment in time. You've been there. You've captured that. You're an OG. It never needs to have utility. In the same way that BTC, people say, oh, but it's old, it's slow, it's this and that. Well, it doesn't matter. BTC is a digital gold. It doesn't need to change. For now, that's what it does. It doesn't need any further utility. It doesn't necessarily need excessive upgrades. So I view the loaded lions in the same way. What do I think about this metaverse play with the land? I think it can, honestly, I think it can go one of two ways. I think if crypto.com, or I suppose the loaded lions, and if it's properly endorsed by crypto.com, if they go about it in the right way, if they're serious about really investing a good amount of money, the right people, right, into seriously developing a good metaverse, and it's more about that than just a straight up money grab, which is unfortunately a lot, I would say severe majority of what the NFT marketplace is. They're just money grabs, scams, whatever. I don't think that's what loaded lions is, but if they're going in with the approach of, all right, what do we need to do to create the best metaverse, not only on Cronos, but possibly even the entire cryptocurrency blockchain gaming ecosystem, then I think that can be extremely bullish for the loaded lions, for the land, and for CRO on the whole. Fantastic play. Yeah. But I think that if they overpromise and underdeliver, I think that can have potentially a detrimental effect on the loaded lions, and people will get annoyed and they won't sell. So, I think that's what it comes down to. It's very early. I'm looking into some land as well. I'm not sure whether I'll purchase land. Definitely will get a loaded lion for sure. Still, I'm checking the floor prices every day actually. And, again, I kind of said, I don't know if we made the promise, but I knew you were going to get one because you said you were definitely going to get one. And yeah, I'm very much aggressively looking into still getting one. And look, to be honest, I don't mind if the price goes up by a couple K and I miss out. It's fine because I'm thinking like a 5-year period. Ideally get 2, maybe sell one when we get into full bull, something like that. So that's what I think about that. It can go one of two ways, really. It really can. And I just hope that these developers that they've got behind the metaverse, the land integration, I hope that they're really thinking about creating a quality, fun project, and it's not primarily about a money grab. And I think that's going to be a good thing.
Yeah, from the looks of it, it looks like it's going to be very cool, very tycoon style. Like, you think Roller Coaster Tycoon, build the best theme park, build the best mansion here for the Loaded Lions. It's an entrepreneur style game.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool. You know, I got a loaded line with a suit. I'm hoping my guy will be an entrepreneur. But I'm with you. I want more. I want one with a crown. That'd be super cool. But
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
really expensive. I mean, it was a huge
they are.
investment. The only reason I did it is because I had some liquid crypto right there, ready to go. Most of my crypto is staked, you know, but I DCA. And so I
Yeah.
took a stack that I recently DCA'd in. And you know what? I went for it. I had to get one because I felt like these floor prices would be climbing. And look, over the last 3 days, the floor price has jumped $100 a day for the last 3 days. I got to look at it this morning. I haven't seen it, but last I checked, it was $2,000 and change. Maybe
strong.
who knows? Maybe it turns to $2,100 today, $2,200 leading up to this event. The real question I still have is, you know, after the event, you know, will it fall, right? Because one of the biggest advantages of having a loaded line right now is this land grab that's coming, because you'll have 3-day or 2-day early access to buy it. Oscar didn't believe that it would sell out. I don't agree with that one. I actually personally do believe there's a strong chance that it could sell out. But he also had a great point is if they put a limit on the loaded line holders, then I don't think they will sell out. I don't think they can at that point. But if they don't put a limit on the loaded line holders, you know, I'm a smaller fish. I'm not a whale, right? But there's some loaded line holders that are whales, and if they get the opportunity to buy as much land as possible, they might come in and swoop up all the land. But after that land's bought, let's say, you know, the loaded lines get their opportunity. Maybe they buy it all. Maybe they don't. After that, the question is will the loaded lines still be looked at as valuable as they are right now, just in the short term, right? Maybe, like in your mind, are you looking to pick one up after the land sale or before the land sale? You know what I'm saying?
I understand. Yeah, to that point, look, I think that loaded lines, they already established themselves before this land sale, in my opinion. They were already the go-to crypto.com NFT that everyone really wanted to get their hands on, especially if you're in the Cronos ecosystem, in my opinion, you know. So I don't think the ability of having a loaded line in order to get early access to purchase X amount of land is what makes a loaded line valuable. Obviously in the short term, yes, theoretically it does, but it's really very short term, and quite an interesting point that I don't really hear a lot of people talking about when it does come to NFTs, in particular these 10K NFT collections. But the first thing is, you know, I don't know exactly what the number is now, but I think maybe it's around 5% total listed. Maybe it's a little more. I'm not exactly sure. I haven't checked in a few days, but it's low, guys. I'm pretty sure it's under 10%. I don't know if you know, Kip, that in terms of the amount of loaded lines that actually listed for sale on the marketplace, I think the percentage fairly low. Right.
I don't know the percentage, but I can tell you that I've looked at it, and there are a lot of loaded lines, including mine, that are not listed.
Exactly.
I don't want to list mine because I don't want it to sell prematurely.
And what I would ask you is like, and I think this is really important for the broader, I guess, your broader community to really understand when it does come to, okay, where's the inherent value in these kinds of NFTs? You know, you've bought this loaded line. I can only imagine, like, in terms of, okay, so you buy a bag of CRO. Versus you buying it's assuming, let's just say you bought your loaded line for $2,000, right, in CRO. I think it was probably a little bit more than that, or then let's just say you buy a floor loaded line for $2,000 worth of CRO, and then on the other side you got $2,000 just CRO, all right? You don't have an emotional attachment to this CRO. Everyone's might have CRO. I might have $2,000 worth of CRO. It's fungible. There's nothing that makes it special versus your bag, but I can't ever own your loaded line if you don't sell it. So what does that mean? It makes it emotional. Your psychology, even if you don't want to admit it, every video you make, every time you put that loaded line on thumbnail, it's essentially becoming, I don't know what your strategy is with it going forward, but I would think that, you know, you're becoming more emotionally attached to this loaded line. There's a reason why you waited and you didn't want to tell us which loaded line you were getting, because you wanted that bad boy, right? And it's almost like, you know, even if people don't admit it, it almost becomes a part of your brand, a part of your persona. It's just like how I've got one of my doodles as my profile picture on my YouTube channel. So coming back to the original point in terms of the inherent value, there's only 10,000 of these things. You've got maybe around 5 to 10% listed, impeding bull market, right? Think of all of those people out of the 10,000 that have developed that emotional connection to their loaded line. I don't know, I can't speak for the exact percentage, but I'm pretty sure that there's going to be a high percentage that they are not going to sell this loaded line. They're not going to list it. They may never list it unless they get a lucrative price.
to your
right?
point, like there's communities within the Loaded Lion community, right? So I don't
Yeah,
know if you picked up on this, but I've been diving deeper into the like. I want one with a crown. Why? Because
yeah,
it's so renowned
of
in the
course.
Loaded Lion community. I mean, you can see it by the price,
I think
but
one
the
sold the other
crown,
day. Yeah,
the Royal Lions, you know, the chain
100%.
gang. There's the Loaded Lions with the chain.
Yeah, 100%. Subcategories. Yeah, yeah,
Right. I'm part of the suit gang, but I've also got a
yeah,
Viking helmet with a crypto.com logo. So I
yeah.
got a pirate eye patch, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, I mean, I think, you know, the reason I got it is one, I need to have at least one because I believe that the project is, you know, Beanie Babies or Pokemon cards, right? It's the same
Mm-mm-mm.
idea. There's a limited amount. They're
Yeah,
collectibles. In that, there's value. But on
yeah.
top of it, like this is a community. This is a growing project. You like look at hashtag CrowFam on Twitter. It's huge. Loaded
Massive.
Lions are getting in that too. The Loaded Lions are probably the most vocal of the CrowFam. Really, when you look at Twitter, I want to be a part of that community. The Loaded Lion family could not be nicer. They're inviting. Even if you get one of the cheapest Loaded Lions, they're not going to be like, oh, you know, look at that loaded. They're going to be like, welcome to the Pride, brother. You know, they're really nice.
100%.
They're really good people.
Yeah,
I'm going to hold on to mine. It's definitely a part of my brand. It is my Twitter profile picture. It's going to continue to
exactly.
be that. You
Exactly.
know, I might flip it at some point for
Yeah,
another one, but I don't really want to do that. I'd really like to just kind of hold this guy. I'm going to buy as much land as I can, as much as they
yep.
allow. We'll have to see what happens. But hey, Satoshi, I guess I'm going to wrap this thing up. But what are you thinking? I mean, we've got a metaverse. We've got lions. We've got look at all the FUD that Crow has crushed and squashed the FUD. You know, this recession of sorts globally and inflation. We're going to win that eventually. Eventually, we'll come out on the other side. Are you looking at 2023 and expecting any kind of upward movement, or are you just waiting for that bull run?
Yeah, look, I think for myself, I'm kind of, I'm itching for a bull run. There's no doubt about that. I'm kind of, the bear market's kind of draining me a little bit, but it's all good. I think, just for myself, just continuing to put out the unbiased content about crypto.com and other aspects as well. And, that's just what you got to keep doing, guys. And you just got to remember, bear or bull market, sideways movement, doesn't matter. A company like crypto.com is just going to keep building, So I think that's really what you have to consider. I think, look, I mean, it does kind of feel like it is going to be a lot of sideways movement for at least part of 2023, and then never know, maybe midway through 2023, earliest we might start to see some positive movement. But again, this is cryptocurrency, and it's almost impossible to predict these bigger movements sometimes, And I think just do your own due diligence and just be careful about where you're investing your money. But a DCA like you do, Kip, just DCA nicely into these projects that you believe in, right?
Dollar
DCA
cost average,
right up there.
guys. Every
Exactly.
day.
Every
chance
day,
you
man.
get, but that
Yeah.
you got to have some cash coming in. So, we're
100%.
always finding opportunities to make money so we can continue to dollar cost average because it's about the long term. Oscar was saying he doesn't like to get involved with the drama. That's a great point. There's a lot of events, there's a lot of news, there's a lot of fear,
Yeah.
there's a lot of FUD. We'll get
Yeah.
past it. Do your research. A great way to do that is by following us at the Crypto Report. And remember, guys, please go over to Satoshi Aoki's YouTube channel as well. You guys want to make sure you follow him for all content, crypto.com and gaming. And do not forget to go to Oscar Ramos's channel and subscribe because he has some fantastic crypto.com content as well. If you guys want to join us at the Crypto Report, we did launch membership programs and tiers as well for the community. So please, guys, make sure you consider subscribing to our channel, and we will keep this content coming at you guys every single day. 4 videos every single day, 2 live streams every single week, Tuesday, Thursday, 5:30 Central Standard Time. As always, guys, I am Crypto Kip. This is the Crypto Report, and do not forget to DCA, HODL, and we will see you in the next one. Thanks, everybody, so much. I got 2 videos for you right here if you would like to check them out. Peace, guys. Have a great night.